There's a number in your head right now. You might not know the exact figure, but it's there. The amount of money that would finally make you feel safe, finally let you breathe. You've been chasing it your whole life. And here's the strange part. Every time you've gotten close, the number moved. You got the raise. You hit the salary you used to dream about back when you had nothing. And somehow the finish line quietly slid further away. This isn't bad luck, and it isn't greed. It's a program running inside you that was never designed to let you feel rich. And once you understand it, you can finally stop running. Let's start with the people who actually caught the number, the ones who won. In 1978, three researchers published a study that nobody wanted to believe. They tracked down 22 people who had recently won major state lotteries. In some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars, which was a fortune at the time. Then they compared them to ordinary people who had won nothing. The assumption was obvious. The winners should be happier. They had just been handed the exact thing you're chasing right now. They weren't happier. Not meaningfully. Within months of the biggest financial event of their lives, the lottery winners had drifted back to roughly the same level of day-to-day happiness they had before the win. And there was a second finding, darker than the first. The winners reported getting less pleasure from ordinary things. A good meal, a morning coffee, talking to a friend. Next to the memory of winning, the small joys of normal life had faded. The thing they thought would complete them had quietly turned down the volume on everything else. Psychologists have a name for what happened to them. They call it hedonic adaptation, though most people know it by a better name, the hedonic treadmill. And it is the first reason you will never feel rich. Here's how it works. Your mind doesn't measure your life against zero. It measures against whatever it's already gotten used to. When something good happens, you feel the lift, a raise, a new car, a bigger apartment. But your brain treats that lift as temporary information, not a permanent gift. Within weeks or months, the new thing becomes the baseline, the floor. It stops registering as good and simply becomes normal. And a life that feels normal doesn't feel like anything at all. Think about the phone in your hand. The first day you had it, it felt like the future. Now it's just the thing you have. That's the treadmill. You didn't lose the phone. You lost the feeling. And the treadmill does this with everything, including money. Especially money. So you climb. You get the next thing. You feel the lift. It fades. You climb again. And you tell yourself the next level is the one that will finally stick. It never does. You're running on a machine that speeds up to match every step you take, which is why you can sprint your entire life and never move an inch closer to enough. But that's only half the story, because the treadmill explains why the good feeling fades. It doesn't explain why the number keeps rising. For that, you need to understand something worse. Your number was never really about you. In 1974, an economist named Richard Easterlin noticed something that didn't make sense. As entire countries got richer over the decades, their citizens didn't report getting happier. But within any single country, at any single moment, the richer people were clearly happier than the poorer ones. Both things were true at once, and they seemed to contradict each other. How can money buy happiness for the rich person next door, but not for the country as a whole? The answer is that you don't feel wealth. You feel rank. Your brain barely cares what you have in absolute terms. It cares intensely about what you have compared to the people around you. Wealth is relative, and relative has no ceiling. This is why a person earning $50,000 in a town of average earners can feel comfortable, while a person earning $500,000 in a city of millionaires can feel like they're falling behind. Same human wiring. The one making 10 times more feels poorer because the people he measures himself against are further ahead. He is not comparing his life to history. He is comparing it to his neighbor, his coworker, the stranger on his screen. And that's the trap that makes the modern version so much worse than anything your grandparents faced. For most of human history, your comparison group was the 50 or 100 people in your village. Today, you scroll past more wealth in 10 minutes than your ancestors saw in a lifetime. Private jets, second homes, people your own age who seem to have already won. Your brain doesn't know those images are curated, exceptional, often fake. It just files them under people like me and quietly raises your number to match. You are running the same race you always were. The finish line just got moved to the horizon, and the horizon moves when you do. And here's where it gets stranger. Because even if you could freeze the comparison, even if you were the richest person you knew, there is a third mechanism working against you, and it's buried deeper than the other two. It's in the chemistry of wanting itself. Your brain runs on a reward system built around a chemical called dopamine. For a long time, people assumed dopamine was the pleasure chemical, the thing that makes the good moment feel good. It isn't. Dopamine isn't about having, it's about pursuing. It spikes not when you get the reward, but when you're chasing it, anticipating it, closing in on it. It is the fuel for the hunt, not the feast, which means the most intense feeling your brain produces around money is not the moment the money arrives. It's the moment right before. The deal is about to close, the number about to hit, the purchase you haven't made yet. The wanting is electric. The haven is quiet. This is the cruelest part of the whole design. The chase feels alive. Arrival feels like almost nothing. So, the second you get what you wanted, the system that made you want it goes looking for the next target. Because chasing is the only state it knows how to reward. You are not built to arrive. You are built to depart over and over forever. Now, at this point, you might reasonably ask, doesn't money buy some happiness? And the honest answer is yes. This is where the science gets careful, and it matters. In 2010, the psychologist Daniel Kahneman and the economist Angus Deaton studied the emotional well-being of thousands of Americans. They found that money genuinely does buy day-to-day happiness, but only up to a point. Somewhere around $75,000 a year in the currency of that time, the effect on everyday mood seemed to flatten out. Below that line, money relieved real suffering. Above it, more money didn't seem to move the needle much. For years, that was the famous number. Then, in 2021, a researcher named Matthew Killingsworth ran a much larger study and found the plateau wasn't quite real. Happiness kept rising with income, further up than anyone thought. The two teams eventually sat down together and reconciled it, and the truth turned out to be more useful than either headline. Money reliably reduces the lows. It buys you out of the misery that comes from not being able to pay rent, fix the car, cover the emergency. What it does not do for almost anyone is deliver the feeling you're actually chasing, the feeling of enough. Because that feeling was never for sale. You can buy comfort. You cannot buy the end of wanting. They are not the same product, and you have spent your life at the wrong store. So, why does your brain do this to you? Why would evolution build a mind that can never be satisfied? Because for almost the entire history of your species, there was no such thing as enough, and a brain that felt satisfied would have gotten you killed. For hundreds of thousands of years, your ancestors lived one bad winter away from starvation. More food was always better. More shelter, more status, more allies, and more resources were always better because the margin between plenty and death was razor thin, and the good times never lasted. The humans who felt content and stopped gathering did not become your ancestors. The ones who always wanted more did. You are descended from the anxious, from the ones who looked at a full store of food and felt in their gut that it still wasn't safe enough, that restless hunger kept them alive long enough to pass it down to you. It worked so well that it's still running right now in a world of abundance it was never designed for, aimed at a bank balance instead of a food supply, telling you the same thing it told them. Not yet, Not enough. Keep going. Your brain isn't broken. It's doing its job perfectly. The job just doesn't exist anymore. And here is the part that actually changes something. Because once you can see the machine, you are no longer completely inside it. You can't switch off the treadmill or the comparison or the dopamine. That wiring is permanent. But you can stop believing the story it tells you, the story that says a future number will deliver a feeling the present never can. The moment you understand that the feeling of not enough is manufactured, produced on demand by an organ that would generate it at any income, something loosens. The number stops being a promise. It becomes what it always was. A mirage that retreats exactly as fast as you approach. The people who make peace with money are rarely the ones who finally hit the number. They're the ones who realized the number was never going to do what they hoped and chose to stop waiting for permission to feel okay. They still build. They still earn. They just stopped outsourcing the feeling of enough to a future that was designed never to arrive. So, think about that number in your head one more time. The one that would finally let you relax. You were right that it's real. You were just wrong about what it is. It isn't a destination you haven't reached yet. It's a horizon your own mind paints on the edge of wherever you happen to be standing, and it will keep painting it, and every income until the day you die, unless you decide to look at the ground under your feet instead. You will probably never feel rich. Almost no one does. But you can feel something the treadmill can never take from you. And it was never the number. It was noticing you were running at all.